guys, welcome back to another video. I'm a huge fan of the TV show The Last Kingdom, especially the main character, Uhtred of Bebbanburg. I've seen so many awesome cosplays on social media and really wanted to get into it too. So I did what all kids do. I asked my mum if she could make me look like Uhtred. As you can see, I have his hairstyle, but a big part of his costume is his shield. So let's see how my mum did with the challenge. I'm absolutely thrilled how it turned out. It's all made with EVA foam, which is perfect for me as it's super light, making it safe for cosplay events. Now I'm going to show you how to make this awesome shield. Well, my mum is doing all the work, but I'm doing the voiceover, so let's roll VT. The main sections of the shield are made using 10mm thick EVA foam. First two pieces were cut measuring 24 inches by 12 inches. Then it was time to make a makeshift compass and mark a circular edge. The next stage was to cut away the excess foam. This was done freehand using a craft knife. It was time to mark out the individual boards that would make up the shield. Measurements were made every 4 inches. They don't need to be exact. Once marked out, these were cut with a craft knife. Now for the exciting part of giving the foam a wood-grained look. This was done using the sand drum on a rotary tool. Using the edge of the sanding drum and dragging across the foam, Mum was able to create the desired effect. You can also vary the depth of the grooves. Once all the boards were complete, it was time to turn it over and repeat the process on the other side. This did produce a lot of dust, so we need to wear a mask in a well-ventilated area. Once finished, each board was marked with numbered tape so we didn't get confused as which piece was which. With the shield starting to take shape, the next stage was to glue the various pieces together. This was done using contact adhesive. Remember to use a well-ventilated area as well as a face mask when using adhesive. Adhesive was placed on each individual edge to ensure as much surface was covered as possible. Once glued, the shield was laid out on a flat surface, allowing time to dry. The next stage was to add a handle to the back of the shield, as well as further braces. Two further braces were cut at 14 inches for the top and bottom of the shield. A 4.5-inch circle was cut out of the centre of the shield. Pencil marks were placed on the rear side to mark the positions of the wooden braces. Wooden batten was used. One piece was cut at 19 inches for the main handle across the middle of the shield. These were fixed into place using contact adhesive. The next stage was to cut out a 6-inch circle using 10mm foam. A smaller circle was then marked out and the centre section was cut away. The section will be used as the base for the handguard at the centre of the shield. This was cut by a hand with a craft knife and then finished off with the rotary tool to give it a bit more realistic look. In order to make the dome section for the handguard, Mum found a bowl that was roughly the size and shape for the dome we were looking for. A piece of 10mm foam was heated using a heat gun, allowing the foam to be moulded into the inner section of the bowl. Once moulded, the excess foam was trimmed with scissors and then finished off with the rotary tool. Once finished, the dome section was glued using contact adhesive to the base section made earlier. The rosary tool was used to give the handguard a textured, hammered metal look. To give the handle a realistic leather look, a strip of 2mm thick foam was cut 2 inches wide and wrapped around the wooden handle at the centre. This was glued into place using a combination of contact adhesive and super glue. Strips of 10mm foam were then cut to cover the top and bottom buttons. These were glued into place with contact adhesive. For the remaining section of the handle, 2 rectangular sections of 2mm foam was cut and glued into place. The same technique was then used on the back of the shield to finish the top and the bottom brace sections. For the trim around the edge of the shield, strips of 2mm foam were cut at 5 inches by 2 inches. One end of the strip was rounded off using scissors. To make fixing these strips easier, each one was glued into place to make one long strip. This was then attached to the outer edges of the shield using a combination of contact adhesive and super glue. These were then held into place, giving them time to dry. Once glued into place, a heat gun was then used to shrink the foam further into place. The handguard section for the front of the shield was then glued into place. To make the shield as realistic as possible, a leather punch was used to create tack heads from 2mm foam. Now it's time to make some larger rivets that would be used for the board sections of the shield. Individual pieces were cut and glued into place with super glue on the front and the rear of the shield, as well as on the outer base of the handguard. These were then finished off with the rotary tool to give a realistic look. Then the heat gun was used to finish off. Before moving on to the painting stage, the rotary tool was used to add battle damage to the various parts of the shield. As you can see, the process of making the shield is complete. Before painting the shield, 2 light coats of grey plaster dip was used. Please remember to do this in a well-ventilated area and to wear a face mask. Once dry, the rear side of the shield was painted brown using acrylic raw umber. In order to give a weathered look to the wooden boards of the shield, watered down black acrylic paint was used and brushed into place. The handguard section of the front of the shield was painted with acrylic black. Once dry, this was then weathered using a dry brush method with silver acrylic paint. Now for the real exciting part. The front of the shield was painted a natural grey acrylic paint, leaving approximately a 1-inch gap towards the outer edge of the shield. The outer edge was then painted with the same acrylic raw umber as used on the rear. The same weathering techniques were used here as well. In order to get the correct shade of paint, acrylic burnt umber was mixed with acrylic red deep hue. So guys, that's all the steps we used to create Uhtred shields from the TV series The Last Kingdom.